of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have to kick them.
Okay, first order of business is correspondence. Amber, we have any correspondence? Linda?
Yes, we do. We have a letter from Dorothy Ogar. Would you like me to read it?
I think we should.
Yes.
Just as,
Yeah.
she deserves that.
Dear Supervisor Siller, it is with great regret that I must inform you of my retirement from the office of the town clerk of the town of Shelter Island, Registrar of Vital Statistics, Freedom of Information Officer and Records, Access Officer, effective December 17th, 2022. My desire to retire has come sooner than I was expecting, but I am hoping that it could assist me with my recovery from COVID. I have been struggling with this disease since the middle of July, and I am not improving as quickly as I would like to. I will miss serving the people of this town as I have for the past 61 years. This has been basically a lifetime career for me. As you know, I have always called Shelter Island my town, and I have enjoyed the journey. Sincerely, Dorothy S.
Thank you.
Next, we have a letter from D.B. Bennett on the proposed Shelter Island municipal wastewater treatment system.
Who's that letter from?
D.B. Bennett?
Okay.
Sylvester Manners.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was supposed to say that. The next one is from Frank Eisler, and he's sending correspondence in reference to the Rams Head Inn Dock Secra. And Pam Demarest, she's also sending something on the Hayjack Secra classification. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask if anybody in the audience wants to speak on any of the resolutions that don't require a public hearing. So we have a list of the public hearings, and if you're here to talk about something other than the public hearings, now's the time to do it.
And now?
Yep.
With my
Come up and identify yourself, please.
name is John Needham. I'll be speaking as the chairman of the Shelter Island Waterways Management Advisory Council. There's been quite a bit of discussion in our meetings regarding this for the past months, I guess, fair to say. Last night, I think we took the only vote that we ever took on this was last night. That vote was whether, actually, this is the 1-3 thing. Never mind. I'm going to go to something. I don't think the WMEC, I don't think, speaking from the membership, that we're against the increase. I think that we have a problem with how it's being applied. I don't see it as being a user fee. To me, it would be analogous to the leaf user fee and that money being used to haul the scrapped iron to the scrap place. Taking one in for one purpose, but using it for some other purpose. That's how it's been described to me. One fees would come in, but they'd be used for other things like bulkhead capital projects and I don't know what else. I'm going to read this out. It simply said the town board has independently moved forward with a plan to revise how moorings are dealt. There's been a solution in search of a problem. The WMAC was never apprised of any specific problems or issues with the system and was never asked to contribute to a resolution of any perceived issues. The result has been a massive increase in fees charged to hundreds of mooring holders in order to support a developing bureaucracy to address problems that seem to have never troubled anyone. The system we've been dealing with is not perfect, it's had issues, but between the WMEC and the Bay Constables and the town clerk's office, we've solved those issues. resolve them meeting after meeting after meeting. And I think you've done a terrific job managing the harbors, make sure there's room for everybody, whether they want to be kayaking or water skiing or swimming or at a mooring, at a dock, whatever they need to be. They've done a great job. So that's it. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Colorado, I'm also on the Waterways Committee, and also just speaking as a resident. I believe that raising the rates 300% is just beyond normal. In this economy, to be raising the rates, the amount that the town board is recommending just seems absurd. Sure. You know, I know you compared it earlier to, you know, the kayaks and the fees for those things. They require some attention. You had to build racks for them. The racks have to be taken care of. Moorings, it's the mooring owner has to take care of. They're thousands of dollars to install. They're thousands of dollars to maintain. And now on top of it, we're paying, you know, triple, more than triple what we've been accustomed to. This is an island community, and especially for the people who live inland, that's really their only access to the water. And I just don't think it's right. And I don't think it's right to be spending to be putting on, give or take 400 people, the whole police department's salary.
We're not taking on the whole police department.
Well,
Come on,
a
Alan.
good percentage. I mean, the
Bay constables. Bay constables.
With all due respect to them, they do a great job. They're important, but they do service a lot more than those 400 people that have moorings. It's just, it just boggles my mind. I know I've sent you letters in regard to that. And I've been here in person tonight to express that. And I ask that you reconsider.
Thank you. Anybody else? Bert?
So I have a fair share of moorings because I'm commercially involved with the working on the water on a daily basis. Every day down at Daniel Lloyd Road on my pulley line, I go out to a mooring, and you were gracious enough to let me have a float special permit, and I appreciate that. And then I have clients that have floats and boats, and I bring them back to my holding moorings. And then I do have a couple of rentals that occasionally get filled during the season if there's a storm. So I'm impacted pretty hard by this rate raise. And I see it from the fact that, yeah, I'm impacted by it, but you also have the public trust. And I understand that that's a little bit different than some of the other factors that you have to go in when you're looking at fees. And that the area that you're regulating is a common benefit for everybody. So there's part of it is that, yeah, I'm commercial and I'm benefiting it commercially, but then there's also the commercialization of rental moorings. And that's, I think, a different, that's a different revenue stream to, you know, that people are getting off of the water. So personally, let me speak for myself. I would like to see a carve out for holding moorings, specifically from commercial rental moorings. They were established in the town. One of the reasons was that you couldn't make money on them. They were, you know, meant to be for a waterfront-less commercial person to have the ability to commercialize, you know, either, you know, their livelihood. So I'd appreciate considering that. I think that the discussion on rental mooring fees should be open and looked at now and in the future to see how they affect the public trust and who in the island is denied being able to get a resident permit versus someone who might have to get one through a commercial entity. And that may affect how you want to affect permit fees. And so I hope that you continue looking at that. As far as residents go, I don't want us to see this island continue down a road of being elitist and just be thinking that, oh, if you own a boat, you're rich, and therefore we can spank you with higher fees all over the place. And as the last speaker said about, yes, you have to maintain your mooring, you have to buy the gear, service it, generally twice a year with changing the top gear. So there are a lot of expenses on it. And at the same time, the town doesn't require you to pull it out to benefit the baymen who might want to scallop. Not that there are scallops that much in open waters now anyway, but that was one of the reasons that's in the mix of the way the town administers the mooring situation around the island, which is different from several of the other towns. But anyway, if you consider a couple of things I have to say, that if you don't act on them, or you can consider them in the future, that particularly with the holding moorings, and then also know that it is going to have an impact on locals and commercial guys, and in their income. If you look at what my taxes or my fees are going to be, it's I think it's going to be like a 30% increase in what I'm paying the town next year in terms of my taxes going up 5% what I'm paying in mooring fees. So I'd like you to see, compromise to some extent on some of these fees. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
RTD for the North, and I hibernate down on Silver Beach, so probably most of you don't see me around much. The first thing I wanted to say was I was so surprised and shocked when I got a call from one of my fishing buddies this week that told me what was going on, and he heard it from a gal who read it on the internet. And I read the paper and everything, I didn't think we were I think you guys were going to do anything like this. Over a 300% increase with a recession looming right on our heads. It just seems ridiculous. And, I'd like to have you, maybe if you think you need the money to help pay for bay constables, I understand they're now going to be called something else. To do it over a period of years, this is kind of really a 300% increase. And then let everybody know what you're doing with that money, because I feel better about that. And I think everybody else would. And I think it's probably because of the notification that this room isn't filled. I thought we'd pull up and there wouldn't be any parking here because of all the people that I know are going to be concerned. In any event, I'd like to have you reconsider. I think it's, I am told that you guys will have made your mind up and that's it. And that's really not a good thing to do right now with this town, with the recession and everything else. Not a good thing.
Corky, I'll just address the notice. We've been talking about this since July. It's been at numerous work sessions. It's been at numerous WMAC meetings. It's been at budget meetings. So it's been.
I understand. I told
It's
you,
been discussed.
I hibernate them.
Well, I mean, I don't know, what can we do? I'm not gonna, everybody's.
I read the paper,
Well, then you have an issue with the paper, not with us.
yeah. But I would think something is, how important this is going to be to everybody. You would find some way.
I don't think we could have publicized it any more than we did.
Okay, well, I disagree. Okay.
Anybody else? Last chance.
Can I speak again?
Who are you speaking as?
WMAC. listened to Courtney. I want to support what you said because I agree with you. Even as a member, as the chairman of the WMAC, we didn't feel as, I think I can speak for the membership, we didn't feel as though we were being informed. We felt as though things were happening outside of our committee.
John, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I came to you in early September I made a proposal and I said, please give us your thoughts. That's 2.5 months ago. So don't say you didn't know about this. It was before your committee, before we started the budget process.
It was, but I didn't feel as though anything that we recommended was taken seriously.
Okay,
That's not-
per foot vote, we wanted to make it fairer in our view because we wanted to charge per foot like they do in Southold. You said the committee really didn't want that, so we're not doing that. We reduced the commercial more.
Administrative nightmare trying to do that.
Well, we didn't think so. I don't agree with you on that, but we did it because you recommended it. We also, the ultimate, what we decided on the fee, that was taking the committee's recommendation into consideration, because now the fees do not cover all the costs of administration and adding to the waterways fund. It doesn't. Some of it's coming out of general fund now. So again, we just didn't agree with everything down the line. And I think I want credit that we did listen and we adjusted course. We just didn't do it to the extent you wanted.
WMAC didn't recommend tripling the fees, I can tell you that. My comments about fees, that's my comment.
Anybody else? Anybody anybody online want to say anything? James?
I'll just,
And Jeff?
being that I came a little late due to Santa Claus, but, again, probably this is redundant, but the, going to yearly renewal is, sort of onerous. It costs more money to do that.
It's fees right now, James.
Pardon me?
Just to say, it's fees right now. We
You
haven't,
want to talk about the term during a public hearing.
Which is in a few
on the
minutes.
term.
Oh, okay.
sorry,
So fees.
this is fees.
So,
Okay, fee increase.
tacking on the administration fee on top of the mooring fee, where it used to be paid out of those waterway funds, for all those renewals, is just like, it's instead of $150 a year, it's $156 a year. Or whatever, So it just, it's a lot for people to bear.
Just so people understand the $6, we do that across the board anytime we take credit card payments, we get.
Well, it's not, no, $6 is,
OLM.
it
Oh,
goes,
I'm sorry.
that's the
Oh, I
charge
understand.
from online mooring.
Okay.
And
Plus,
plus,
if you do pay by credit card, then it's on top of that.
yeah, which that's kind of municipal law, right?
I thought the $6 was taken out.
Well, it used to come out of the general, out of
Yeah.
the waterway.
Good.
And that was never actually resolved.
Jeff?
Sorry, I came to the meeting a little bit late. Can I ask you, what is the logic to why we're raising this rather than once every 3 years at $130? Everybody's acceptable with an increase. But
Right now, it's,
increasing and going every year?
right now, it's just to discuss the increase. The, going from 3 to 1 year will be at the public hearing, which we'd sort of have to,
No, it's kind of hand in hand. He's
I
asking-
would say it's the same thing. Okay, the next question I have is what is created the problem with the amount of money that's coming in? Where are we losing?
It's not a problem, Jeff. This town board has been trying to take off the burden of the general public taxpayers, anything that's user specific. We increased license fees for contractors. We started charging for leaves at the dump because it costs us $1,000 a day when we have to grind up there. Anything that we felt we could take off the tax payer and put onto, and we looked, and the way our code reads is everything that we suggested paying with WMAC money is allowed in the law. It's all water-related objects.
All right, the next question I have is, how many full-time bay constables do we have?
2,
Okay, how many bay constables do we have total?
4.
Okay. When did we go to 4? How come we went from 1 to 4?
Well, I think you'd have to agree that there's pretty busy out there on the water in the summer.
No. Look at the amount of tickets, the amount of things that are going on, the increases.
We're not looking to generate income from this. We're looking to protect the.
But you're looking to generate income by raising the tax fee, by raising what we pay, to pay for the 4 bay constables that you have now.
So I'm not sure what your point is. We don't need 4 bay constables.
I'm questioning the logic to 4.
I would suggest maybe in the summer you spend a day on the waterway.
Jerry, I'm on the water every day and you know that. You know that. You're talking to the wrong person.
Well, Jeff, you look at the boat traffic. You look at what's going on around the island. I mean,
Do we have numbers to show that
Yes.
4 bay constables are doing that much work?
yeah, I can get you those numbers.
Okay. I think that's something that has to be looked at. I think we have a bay constable, which Labrosi, who has done it for years and has done an exceptional job. Okay? He does. He doesn't have enough work as a bay constable that you guys put him on as a town employee
No, he
for
doesn't.
half a year.
He doesn't have work in the winter.
Exactly.
But not on-
Now you have 2 full-time bay constables
And I say-
working in the winter,
One of those is,
When I say full-time bay
but
constables,
he's not working.
they're full-time employees. One is a part-time bay constable and a part-time highway worker.
Okay.
And one is a part-time bay constable and a part-time animal control officer.
Okay, when does that change? Is there a date?
Yes,
What's the date?
I don't know the date, but between the highway department and the police, they have a schedule.
Okay, and how about the animal control officer?
The same.
Same day?
positions. Yeah.
Same day?
So I know-
Bo's job tailors around the hunting season, so Bo's job basically is more of a mid-September through the end of March, beginning of April, when hunting is officially over.
Okay, so now my question is, you're asking us to carry the financial burden of those people that are working half of the year as,
We're only asking you to cover the bay, no. We're only asking you to cover the part-time bay constable salary. It's all.
4 of them or just 2 of them?
All 4 of them. Any water-related items in the budget, any water-related expenditures that we're legally allowed to use WMAC money for, we are.
Okay. Can you give me the reason why we have 4 bay constables?
Well, we had one, Butch, who's very good. You can't have one. It's impossible. He can't work 7 days a week.
Agree.
You have 2 working 7 days a week, and then you have 2 fill-ins.
How many hours do those 2 fill-ins?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the chief.
The weekend.
Ask him, I figured you might know.
No, the weekend traffic is when you might have 2 boats out with all 4 guys out on the water at the same time. You may have that situation where they overlap. From Monday through Thursday, maybe not as much, but, Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, especially the boat traffic increases a lot because a lot of people from outside the island come to visit and anchor and go to anchorage areas and things like that and go to marinas and, utilize them.
Okay. But you're asking us to pick up the price tag for people going to the marinas and everything else. You're asking us to pay for everything. And I don't see the justification of that.
We're asking the boat owners who have moorings to pay for the waterways, just as we have increased taxes for waterfront homes that have docks, that also, that their taxes are higher than an inland house.
The one thing, Jeff, that you have to realize is where your taxes go up annually. Every year the tax is going up slightly. Some years more than others. With moorings, hasn't been the case. There may be a moratorium on mooring fees for, the town board doesn't decide to change for 10 years, 12 years, and they don't go. There was a lot of negligence in the past of maybe not, incrementally, so the impact wouldn't be felt so great. And I agree 100% with that. That's why it's important to look at these things and monitor these things on a more annual basis. There was a discrepancy about how much the final number would be Some people wanted 2, some people wanted more than 300. And, we went back and forth and we negotiated at the 5 of us, and getting the fees where they were. They weren't, we did not, as a town board, agree to the highest fees because there were some people on town board that wanted to see them lowered, and we did lower them during the budget process.
I don't think there's anybody that has a boat and a mooring that would say that we would argue an increase in the fee. I think the biggest argument is you're taking that same fee and instead of charging once every 3 years, now you're going to charge that same number every year. So that's a $450 price tag now rather than $150. I don't care what anybody does. That's a big hit. And I think that's a little out of control. I think if you're going to do it, increase it as we've been doing.
We haven't been doing it.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah, that's what
But
you said.
and we all agree with that. But to spank us all by saying, well, the easy way is we'll just charge it that price once a year rather than once every 3 years. That is a big jump. And I for one, have a lot of difficulty with that. Okay, thank you for your
There's
time.
no arguing your argument.
Okay, then do something about it.
Yep, I hear you.
Anybody else?
Can I speak a third time?
Come on.
James has his hand.
Just to touch on some of the points, we've sort of gone over this in other venues, but yeah, when you dump your leaves at the dump, they're your leaves, and you're getting charged for them. That's fair. When you are taking a fund and paying for things that are not specific to the charge that you're charging these people, that's not a user fee. That you're taxing these people on the moorings. I mean, you're imposing a tax in some fashion and deciding to use the money for the purposes. I agree with you, Jerry, that you can. The code says you can. The primary reason for the mooring fund or the waterways fund is to administer the moorings. And if there's something left over, you can use them for waterways related projects. And that's what happened over the years. Contrary to the original statements, the mooring fees have gone up, not by a lot, but they have gone up more than just 20 years ago. I think 2015 was the last time maybe it went up. They were reasonable increases and they worked because there was a surplus and it was at the point when the town board realized, hey, there's a surplus here and we can maybe use it for this, for that. And okay, fine. You are entitled to use the money the way you want to. But when it gets to be, the rub is when you start to raise the fees that you are charging so you can use it for all these other reasons. That's when it doesn't necessarily pertain to the mooring holder. The fact that people are getting pulled over, for BWIs or, somebody from, Crescent Beach needs to be rescued or whatever, or you're building a bulkhead or a groin or doing whatever you're going to do with the waterways money. It's benefiting more than just those people who are paying the user fee. So it becomes no longer a user fee, but a tax. And we've talked about this, and I just want to go on record to say that I don't agree with that.
I just want to read from the code 90-2, which is the purpose. It says fees collected herein will be used to cover costs associated with the administration.
Primary, it says primary in there, doesn't it?
No.
Somewhere?
No.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, well,
Let's do that in.
This is the first one, this is the top.
yeah, this is the one in the purpose. Fees collected herein will be used to cover costs associated with the administration and operational services and facilities related to enforcement of this chapter in town laws. I'm just throwing that out there as fact. That's what's in the code.
Right. I don't disagree that you can take the money and do what you want with it. It's just that you're taking the money, and there's a lot more money now because you've decided to raise the charges to all these people that are benefiting the whole island, but only a few people are paying for it.
And then,
That's the rub.
no, I know, and I just want, just so everyone's clear, and then as you referenced, there's another section of the code that speaks to the revenues, that says, 90-5K, revenues collected hereunder shall be applied primarily to the administrative expenses of this chapter and to projects and services associated with the management, protection, and enhancement of town waters and town-owned underwater lands. It's pretty broad.
No, I'm not quibbling about the fact that the town board has the right to use the money for waterways. That's fine. It's just how much money are they getting to cover a broad spectrum of stuff not specifically related to moorings? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, again, the code allows for it, though. It's not.
But, okay, so the code allows the town
It
board to raise the fees as high as they would like,
does.
so that one group of people are paying for.
The revenues collected for
Things
the
that
mooring,
benefit everybody.
for the mooring shall be applied primarily to the administrative expenses.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
No, but it's, and services associated with the management, protection, and enhancement of town waters generally. So everything you were talking about, that's what this code was meant to do. Have those fees applied to the broad swath of things that happen on the water.
And it doesn't say
Nothing-
anywhere that
nothing
they can raise the
specifically
fees
just-
as high as they want to cover the
Yes.
costs that
Yes,
they want to do?
yes.
But it doesn't, but it doesn't.
That's what I guess
90
people are not happy about.
It doesn't say, obviously, it doesn't say it's high, but it says 90-5 F5 says by resolution, the town board gets set the fees.
Apparently, it can be as high as you want.
I'm going to end this conversation with two things. One, we looked at neighboring towns to see what they were charging, and we were woefully undercharged. And two, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. We're trying not to raise taxes. We had almost a 5% increase this year, and we're looking for ways to lessen that burden overall. And this is one of the ways we look to do it.
That's a political thing.
No, it's not a political thing. It's a practical thing for the
It
town.
makes it, to not raise the taxes on the general public that high, makes.
It's kind of our job. We're trying to.
It's your job, yeah.
We got to rein this in a little bit. We have
3 minutes.
meeting rules.
Right.
And,
It started though. So that's.
Okay. All right, we're gonna.
One more thing I want to say.
All right, last one. Come on, John.
Chairman of the waterways. I just want to say, I've been on the waterways for 25 years. For that whole entire period, I've been looking at that fund every single month. And if I saw a problem with it, I would have said something. I didn't see a problem with it. I saw the balance going up and up and up, creating a surplus. At the rate we were charging, a surplus was being generated. The surplus was being used for useful things around the town. And I thought, in my mind, everything was going great up until about 10 months ago. It was a good system, and I thought the rate was fair and that the funds were being used responsibly.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna get into our regular meeting now. We'll start with some. Let's see these. Okay, Jim, you want to start with the resolutions?
Wait,
Okay.
give it a minute for the room to clear, for people that got to clear.
It was funny.
Thank you.
I can't believe you're not staying for the public hearing.
On the 1 to 3 years, the 3 to 1 years?
All right.
No one wants to say anything about that in the public hearing?
Why are we doing this?
Come on.
Why are we doing this?
Hopefully that'll be relayed to the town board.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Give me shelter.
Should I go with this first? I have a resolution that I think should come out of order,
Yes.
okay? Vice advice of attorney. The mooring fee.
You just discussed.
Just discussed should be.
Stina told me I should put it there.
You want it now first? I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, we just told the public that where the reason why they had to speak now was because that resolution is on. It's going to be on.
I got it.
So what?
Page 11.
Do that resolution?
Yeah, do the resolution now.
No, I told the public I wrote it down. I'll tell you what I told the public. Any resolutions that don't require a public.
Which is the fees, doesn't require.
Speak now.
Yeah.
Speak now. So why do we have to act on it? We heard from them.
They were speaking on
Yes, so you're gonna pass the resolution.
So
Yes, so do it now.
why? Why go out of order? I'm not,
Because this is after the public hearings. This resolution was.
that wasn't a public hearing.
I know that's all right.
Exactly, so.
That's why it should be done now, in the beginning, because then you have the.
All right, but we're sticking to the order after that. I mean,
All
I'm
right.
changing this again. So where is it?
Mind it, Jim, page 11.
Page 11, yeah.
That just throws off everything.
Are you taking it or you want me to?
I'm trying to figure out which one.
I'll do it.
Which is 95?
That way you'll be in order until we get there.
BJ's gonna go. BJ's got it.
Whereas Chapter 90-5 and 90-6 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island authorizes the town board to establish fees for mooring permits. Now therefore be it resolved that the following mooring renewal fees are hereby established. Private/riparian, $150 a year. Commercial/holding, $250 a year. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right. Just as a caveat, we hold those fees for a certain number of years, just say that we'll honor these fees for 2 or 3 years?
I don't think we can do that.
Now we can't, but we can talk about it and change it.
Just suggesting that maybe that would be a thing to do.
And we were rolling them out, so it's not until your renewal comes due.
Yeah, it's not till your
that it
renewal comes due.
applies.
So,
That's helped.
all right, so we wouldn't change it during this 3-year period, during the,
Correct.
right. So I just thought it'd be a little easier, but okay.
I agree with you, but I don't know how much handcuffed people will come after us.
Okay. Whereas Jeffrey and Tara Conaris, Gimme Shelter Island LLC, 82 Gardner's Bay Drive, I petitioned the town of Shelter Island to remove approximately 790 square feet and 452 square feet areas of remaining eroded uphill soils adjacent to the existing retaining wall to be placed landward of the retaining wall and/or trucked off-site for the purpose of installing approximately 104 linear feet, I guess that is, and 0.1 to 3.175 tons of stone armor, a maximum of 2.5 tons of linear feet, along seaward toe of existing retaining wall, covering proposed stone armor and re-nourish the approximately 15 to 20 feet wide, 1,910 square feet area seaward retaining wall with approximately 53 CWCY of clean sand fill trucked in from an upland approved source to be placed with Cap American beach grass, 18 inches, and stabilized along the seaward toe with 12 inches diameter of core log, and remove and replace in kind and in place a plus 4 foot by 8 foot wood strip steps to the beach as depicted on the engineer plans prepared by Race Coastal Engineering. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 53-9 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, the town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at 6:10 PM prevailing time on the 10th day of January 2023 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed construction. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Donna Walker, 7 Little Ram Drive, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a mooring in Cockles Harbor at a location designated as latitude 41.076183 north and longitude 72.309000 degrees north. Now therefore be resolved that pursuant to section 90-5 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at 6:12 prevailing time on the 10th day of January 2023 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or opposition to the proposed installation. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Larry and Sally Winston, 3 Ram Island Drive, have petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a mooring in Cockles Harbor at a location designated as latitude 41.075507 degrees north and longitude 72.307204 degrees west. Now therefore be resolved that pursuant to section 90-5 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, the town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at 6:14 PM prevailing time on the 10th day of January 2023 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed installation. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas Isa River Trust, 149 North Ham Island Road, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for a special permit to finish an existing basement and convert to habitable space with living area, bedroom, bathroom, gym, and game room. Be resolved that pursuant to the zoning code of the town of Shelter Island, a public hearing will be held at 6:15 PM prevailing time on the 10th day of January 2023 in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested parties to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed application. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. Whereas Leach Decker of 5 Winthrop Road has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for a special permit to modify an existing developed property with a new two-bedroom accessory sleeping building, a new connection from the main dwelling to existing accessory sleeping building, a new IA system for stormwater continued. To be resolved, the pursuant to the zoning code of the town of Shelter Island, a public hearing will be held at 6:17 PM prevailing time on the 10th day of January 2022 in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed application. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the town board conducted a public hearing on October 18th, 2022 to relocate certain stake and pulley mooring systems located at the Daniel Ward Road Town Landing. Whereas the town board worked with the displaced permittees to find other locations, and therefore be resolved that the relocations are addressed as follows. Relocate T&W 3285 to DLR 6. Relocate Rilling W3007 to DLR 1. Relocate Carver W3375 to DLR 2. Relocate Payne W2593 to Silver Beach Lagoon 2. And revoked the Divliantes,
Yes.
W3417, and place name on the Daniel Lord mooring waiting list for top priority. So moved.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Whereas Mary Ellen McGahey has taken and passed the civil service for the position of senior office assistant, and whereas civil service has revised her position to be senior office assistant, now therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby appoint Mary Ellen McGahey to said position effective retroactively to November 16th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved that the town board of the town of Shelter Island hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023 at 6:18 PM to hear any and all persons either for or against a local law amending Chapter 51 entitled Community Housing, Article 3, entitled Community Housing Board established to increase the membership of the Community Housing Board from 5 to 7 members and remove the term inconsistency, which provides as follows. Local law amending Chapter 51 entitled Community Housing, Article 3, Community Housing Board to increase the membership of the Community Housing Board from 5 to 7 members and remove the term inconsistency.
You want to just read this summary now?
Okay, so
So the main thing is we're going from 5 to 7.
be it enacted,
No, the summary.
summary's right here. Oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
purposes.
The purpose, okay. The summary of the purpose of the proposed law. The purpose of this law is to increase the membership of the Community Housing Board from 5 to 7 so as to increase diversity within same. Further, to cure an error in the code that speaks to a 4-year term when the term is 5 years. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved at the annual meeting, the town board of the town of Shelter Island for the year 2022 will be held at 1 PM prevailing time on the 20th day of December, 2022 for necessary transactions of the board. That's an adjustment that we made. So the new date is 20th of December. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas on February 5th, 2021, the town board adopted an employee handbook. Whereas in order to ensure consistency with town code, Chapter 18 entitled Personnel Policies, updated town policies and current law, now therefore be it resolved that the following amendment shall be made to the town of Shelter Island employee handbook. The medical insurance eligibility paragraph of the town of Shelter Island employee handbook, pages 700 to 707, I think, shall be amended as follows. The town currently offers medical insurance coverage to each full-time employee, each elected official, and their eligible family members. And this is added, including domestic partners. Next, the medical insurance, when coverage begins paragraph of the Town of Shelter Island Handbook, page 700 to 707, shall be amended as follows. Coverage will begin on the first day of the month after the employee's completion of 30 days of full-time employment, or for elected officials, completion of 30 days in office, provided all eligibility requirements of the insurance plan are met. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas on November 9th, 2022, the town board adopted the purchase of a new Freightliner 108 SD, and whereas the amendments have been proposed, now therefore be it resolved that resolution number 696 of 2022 is hereby amended to read as follows. Whereas the superintendent of highways has requested permission to purchase a new Freightliner 108 SD with stellar hook lift, containers, plow, and sander, and whereas the superintendent wishes to expend funds from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for said equipment as follows. This is the addition. First payment of $70,000 from Highway Fund Expense Code DA 5130.246, then $61,801.69 for each of 4 years for 2023 through 2026 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a new Freightliner truck. And
You don't have to read the rest of it, but then that other resolve with the bold.
And then be it resolved that the town board hereby approves the aforementioned withdrawal from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for said purchase for a total not to exceed $317,206.76. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of fuel oil for the medical building, highway department building, and the Legion Hall for the year 2023. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of propane for the police department, town hall complex, Hall of Justice, 40 North Ferry Road, and the ambulance building for the year 2023. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby approved. We have a list of 16 transfers that are available in the town clerk's office. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the following budget modifications are hereby approved. $5,000 increase to A 2610 fines, forfeits of bail, and $5,000 increase to A 1110.440 justice court contracts. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that a petty cash account is hereby established for the town attorney's office in the amount of $150. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Whereas on November 9th, 2022, a public hearing was held to increase the income limit for this New York State senior citizens property tax exemption from $37,400 to $58,400. And whereas the board determined that this is in the best interest of the residents of Shelter Island to increase the maximum exemption limit for island seniors due to the increased cost of living and property values. Now therefore be it resolved that the income limit for the New York State senior citizens property tax exemption is increased from $37,400 to $58,400. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the town board held a public hearing on the 9th day of November 2022. All interested persons to be heard in favor of or opposition to the proposed local law entitled Override of the Tax Levy Limit, to wit, local law number 11 of 2022, be it enacted by the town board of the town of Shelter Island as follows. Section 1, legislative intent. It is the intent of this law to override the limit of the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the town of Shelter Island, county of Suffolk, pursuant to General Municipal Law 3C, and to allow the town of Shelter Island, county of Suffolk, to adopt a town budget for A, town purposes, B, fire protection districts, and C, any other special or improvement district governed by the town board for the fiscal year 2023 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law 3C. Section 2, authority. This law is adopted pursuant to subdivision 5 of the General Municipal Law 3C, which expressly authorizes the town board to override the tax levy limit by the adoption of a local law approved by a vote of 60% of the town board. Section 3, tax levy limit override. The town board of the town of Shelter Island, county of Suffolk, is hereby authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2023 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the limit specified in General Municipal Law 3C.
No, the rest.
Okay, this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to reimburse the sum of $80 to the A4050.484 ambulance office and miscellaneous account for the food and vaccination pod at the senior center. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved, the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to reimburse the sum of $302 to the A1490.410 Public Works Ground Maintenance Account for materials provided to the Shelter Island Country Club. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved, the supervisor is authorized to expend the sum of $32,005 from the fund previously set aside for funding for grants pursuant to Resolution 563-2018 to pay Horizon Structures for the installation of a pavilion at Crescent Beach. When the town receives back the grant reimbursement from the state of New York for the Crescent Beach bathroom and pavilion project, said reimbursement will go back into the fund that was previously set aside for funding of grants. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $856.91 from the A1355.491 support contracts account and $432.67 from the A1330.0484 office and miscellaneous account to Car Business Systems, Atlanta, Georgia, for the billing period of November 11th, 2022 through November 11th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $348 from DA 5140447 Highway B&W outside contractors account to GIR USA Inc., 548 Market Street, number 20601, San Francisco, California, 94101 for the gas diesel software fees for the billing period of November 1st, 2022 to October 31st, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $6,679 from A4540.484 ambulance office and miscellaneous to SCM Products Incorporated, 60 Plant Avenue, Suite 2, Hauppauge, New York, 11788, for the 2023 Fire Rescue System Software and Annual Maintenance Contract. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved that the 2022 general claims number 1778 through 1948 in the amount of $276,378.12 from the 2022 highway claims numbers 214 to 229, the amount of $22,272.26, and the 2022 community preservation claim number 19 in the amount of $848.30 are hereby approved for payment as audited. And the supervisor and/or any town board member is hereby authorized and directed to sign the approval for payment of same. So,
Second, all those in favor?
aye.
Okay, at this time, we're going to recess the town board meeting and open a public hearing on the Dunn mooring relocation. Linda?
Ready? On the application of Charles Dunn, 18 Tuhill Drive, to transfer the ownership of mooring number D3623 at a location designated as latitude 41.085535 degrees north and longitude minus 72.34495 degrees west, occupied by Robert Fairbairn.
Jim?
Yeah, and it's just a swapping of the moorings here between Fairburn and Dunn. So, yeah, with those new moorings, that was a totally accepted. Yes.
Okay, any comments on this one? Now we're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on the Fairburn mooring relocation. Linda?
Okay, on the application of Robert Fairbairn, 25 Winthrop Road, to transfer the ownership of mooring number C3640 at a location designated as latitude 08653 degrees north, and latitude minus 72.3493
Degrees west.
degrees west. Thanks, Jim. Occupied by Charles Dunn.
Okay, same comments there. There was just a swap. And one thing I did want to mention under the Fairborn mooring, they suggested the list the Fairborn mooring as a riparian without the specific boat. So that's, and it was just a straight swap. Okay, so there was a riparian.
Really
mooring
is off of his
on
house.
Fairborn. It's right off his home. Yeah. Their home.
Okay, any comments on the Fairburn? Okay, we're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on 29 Nostrum Parkway bulkhead application.
On the application of Kristen Fairberg, Deerwater LLC, 29 Nostrum Parkway, to remove and replace in place approximately 49 linear feet of existing timber bulkhead and backfill with approximately 10 cubic yards of clean sandy fill to be trucked in from an approved upland source.
Okay, any comments on the Nostrum Parkway application?
It's in kind in place.
Any kind of place? I'm just asking if there's any comments.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody? No. Okay. Rob, do you want to say anything?
Hey, Jerry, just quickly, earlier this year, the board had issued a wetlands permit for the adjacent parcel, replacing the bulkhead in place. And this is basically just a short continuation of that project onto the adjoining property. That other project is underway, and we're hoping to obtain your approval, along with the DEC approval we already have, to basically continue that work into this bit of the 29 Nostrum Parkway property.
Thanks, Rob. With no W on the C, I read.
No.
No. Okay. Okay, if there's no other comments, we're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on the proposed use of WQI funds. Linda?
The Town Board of the Town of Shelter Island hereby calls for a public hearing on the proposed use of WQI funds towards the Cornell Cooperative Extension Agreement for the Shellfish Hatchery and Nursery.
Okay. God bless you. This is a resolution to use WQI funds. Again, this is another example of, rather than take money from the general tax base, each year the town buys between $10,000 and $15,000 worth of seed clams to reseed the bays. And it's eligible to come from WQI money. So that's where we are going to take it from.
And the WQI is aware. and
Yes, we presented it to them and they supported it. Any comments from anybody on this one? Okay, we're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on the local law amending Chapter 90 entitled Moorings.
Okay. The Town Board of the Town of Shelter Island hereby calls for a public hearing on a local law amending Chapter 90 titled Moorings to reduce the mooring permit term and renewal term from 3 years to 1.
Okay.
So there's a summary of the purpose, if I may.
Yep.
The town board finds that a 3-year term and a 3-year renewal term for mooring permits is too long and creates compliance issues and increases administrative costs. A reduction to a 1-year term will allow for a more efficient administration of the mooring code by ensuring consistency in the filing, renewal, and termination dates, and further provide an opportunity for annual review to ensure the permittee is in full compliance with mooring regulations. And furthermore, if I just may add, I think that when you are in touch with a client or a taxpayer on an annual basis, it increases efficiencies because you don't lose track of them. Where the phone number is now out of date, the email is out of date, et cetera. And with the increased automation with our online mooring system, this should, after the transition, pose no additional, in fact, probably less because of the automation, less administrative headaches.
Other East End towns have successfully done likewise.
Well, online mooring tells us that we are the only one in a client field of approaching 100, I think, that do the multiple year.
That's kind of important to mention.
Yeah.
Probably even said that before when they were on here, but.
Okay, anybody in the Zoom audience want to speak? Okay. We're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on a local law entitled Taxation.
Town Board of the Town of Shelter Island hereby calls for a public hearing on local law entitled, a local law amending Chapter 115, entitled Taxation, to add a new article, Article 8, to be entitled Tax Bill Enclosures, to permit the insertion of certain enclosures authorized by town board resolution to be included with the tax bill, of which provides as follows. Legislative intent. Am I supposed to be reading?
It's the intent, right?
Yeah, just the intent.
Stephen, just,
Or one of you guys.
Town board can.
oh, I don't have it.
I do. The town board finds that there will be circumstances where it is in the public interest to authorize the receiver of taxes to enclose with the tax bills certain notices, circulars, cards, handbills, QR codes, or other enclosures allowed by law, but excluding matters of a political nature, propaganda, or advertisements.
Okay, so the general rule is towns do not have the inherent authority to put anything in a tax bill, any enclosure. However, tax law section 826 does allow certain ones by a resolution to be included, like pertaining to water rates, sewer rentals, and other fees and charges. So we could have done that just by resolution if that's what was intended for an enclosure, like water rates, sewer rental, whatever. But the tax receiver approached the town board and wanted to include an enclosure regarding how to sign up electronically for notifications on tax due dates. So the town board decided that that's a definitely good service for the residents. And so we had to exercise our authority under municipal home rule law to do this. So we had to do it via local law, and that's what we're accomplishing here.
Okay,
And so just so you know, and anytime you want to put anything in above and beyond that, it has to adhere to what we have in the law, which is, again, a resolution by the town board. The enclosure has to have a notification that it's by order of the town of Shelter Island. The enclosure is not going to reference any elected official by name or the title of the office, and the enclosure cannot include anything of a political nature, propaganda, or any type of advertising.
okay. Any comments on this one? Okay, I'm going to close that hearing and reconvene the hearing on CXR Shelter Island Heights Marina LLC moorings. This is mooring transfers. I don't think we need to read it. This is,
No, but we had things hanging from the last one. You want me to-
yeah, please.
Okay, so there were two, as far as I know, someone can correct me if they so choose. There were two outstanding topics from the last hearing, and the first one was that there was a mooring J29 that was not in the correct place. It was sort of in the mooring field of the neighboring business, and Harbor Master Bo Payne has been out and has looked at it and found a suitable relocation of that J29 mooring to within a field that includes other J moorings as opposed to other P moorings. So that looks to be good and acceptable to both parties there. Then the second missing thing was a spreadsheet with longitudes. We've received that for each mooring. And again, Harbor Master Payne has checked the accuracy of that and found it to be acceptable.
Okay. Any comments from the audience on this one? Any comments from the, Martin, you want to say something?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good evening. I just, thank you, BJ, for going through that. You stole my thunder, but I was just hoping that we could ask that the record be closed at this time for a decision by the town board.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. Yep. Timothy, you have anything on this one?
No, I don't, Supervisor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else in the audience? Okay, we're going to close that hearing, and then we're going to reconvene a hearing on 10 Thompson Road. Somebody want to refresh me on this one?
Yeah, this is the wetlands application that we got that included a dock, but there was no dock application, so we
Right.
revised the wetlands application to exclude the dock. And the dock will be a separate application. Yeah, that.
That's it, right?
So, okay.
Yes, my name is William Cummings. I'm here with Sean Leonard, architect. And we're here to seek approval to begin building the house in the last meeting, we were asked to eliminate the dock portion because we hadn't gone through waterways yet. So we're hoping to get approval for just the house while we're seeking the approval for the dock.
That was the only concern we had.
That's the only concern.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And, we will probably, I'm thinking, pending anyone having any other comments, close this hearing tonight, discuss this at the next work session, and then place
Act
it.
on it.
And then act on it on the 20th, perhaps. The 20th of December, I think, is the next chance we will have to approve it.
Okay, you can't approve it tonight.
No.
No, we haven't really, I don't believe, thoroughly reviewed the CAC and the,
We have to define the terms of the resolution.
that's right,
So
yeah.
that'll be done in the work session on Tuesday.
We have to tell you what you can and can't do.
Bill, just out of curiosity, so that there's no more wasted time on
Yes.
this thing. You're putting in a new IA system,
Yes,
correct? You're revegetating around the posts.
yes, everywhere we,
The steps. Your extent, the hay bales will be put in place
Yes.
next to the neighbor's property. So the dock, the steps going down to the dock will be part of WMAC. That was basically, it was a no-brainer. The reason we didn't want to frustrate you, is that because the WMAC had not discussed the dock,
right,
we didn't want to hold you up on the house. The
Exactly.
dock can be done after the
I understand.
fact.
yeah.
So if we can get this thing done, in the next meeting.
Stephen, if we discuss this at the work session, can we have a special meeting and adopt it next Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll do it Tuesday, all right?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, no, you've been,
You've been very patient.
you have been, and you've always seemed to be at the end of meetings, so I don't know why that is, but it's a test of your.
And long ones.
And a long one.
With the caveat.
Yes.
that, I'm gonna have to prepare the resolution. So
Yes.
if you come up with conditions at the work session, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
have to come into my office.
Yeah, I think you can handle that.
Yeah,
They're right here.
and we should have them in the CAC report.
Yeah,
They should be available.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
we're good.
and then November 14th.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna close that hearing then.
Yes.
Today.
Anybody else? I'm sorry, anybody from the public want to talk about that
Thanks, Bill.
application? Nope. Okay, we're gonna reconvene our regular meeting and act on resolutions.
Have a happy holiday.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Mr. Cummings? Mr. Cummings?
Mr. Cumming?
I just suggest calling Christina Martin, you've been in touch with her on Wednesday, make sure that's all happened.
Call her on Wednesday.
Yeah, just a follow-up.
Thank you so much.
You meet tomorrow?
No, Wednesday, I mean next week.
Oh, after next week, okay,
Next week, so make
okay.
sure that on Tuesday, we did what we said we do.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to page 10.
Okay. All right, sorry about that.
Jim, you wanna?
All right, whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 6th day of December 2022, that's Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of, was opposition to a local law entitled, a local law amending Chapter 90 entitled Moorings, to reduce the mooring permit term and renewal term from 3 years to 1. And whereas all interested persons were heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that the local law number 12-2022 entitled Moorings is hereby adopted as follows.
You can end there.
Okay.
Just do this local law.
Okay,
Next page.
next page. Okay. This local law shall take effect upon filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to the municipal home rule law. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas chapter 90-5.
So we did that.
We did that one?
We did that.
Okay. So,
You go to the next one.
Good, Meg, you can do that.
All right. Whereas the public hearing was duly held on the 6th day of December 2022 in the Town Hall, Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or opposition to the local law entitled A Local Law Amending Chapter 115 entitled Taxation, to add a new article, Article 8, to the entitled Tax Bill Enclosures, to permit the insertion of certain enclosures authorized by the town board resolution to be included with the tax bill. And whereas all interested persons were heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that local law number 1320-2022 entitled Taxation is hereby adopted as follows.
Then just go
This local law shall take effect upon filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to municipal home rule law. So moved.
Second.
You could just like for future reference, just make a comment that the full copy of the law is available.
Is available, yes.
Full copy of the law is available at the clerk's office upon request and will be posted to the town website upon filing with the Secretary of State.
So moved. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the Shelter Island tax receiver requests for permission from the town board to include a tax bill enclosure regarding resident sign up for electronic tax due date notifications. Whereas the town board reviewed said enclosure and has determined that such request would benefit the residents of the town of Shelter Island by increasing the means of tax due date notifications. Whereas upon filing with the New York State Secretary of State pursuant to Town Code Section 115-26, parentheses A, the town board has the authority to grant such a request. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the tax receiver may include an enclosure within tax bills regarding resident sign up for electronic tax due date notifications. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Whereas the public hearing was duly held on the 6th day of December, 2022, in Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed use of WQI funds. And whereas all persons were heard in favor of or in opposition to, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to use said funds towards the cooperative extension of Shelter Island Shellfish Hatchery and Nursery 2022 memorandum agreement as follows: $10,000 for the year 2022 and $12,000 for the year 2023. So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we're going to open the meeting to the public for any questions, comments. Anybody in the Zoom audience? Julia?
No, thanks, Jerry.
Okay, Julie, you good?
I am, Jerry, thank you.
Okay, Julie, I'll send you a picture tomorrow of the check presentation from the emergency services. Okay, if there's nobody else, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.